welcome, namaste, good evening. Someone just joined here. Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Nice to have you here. Thanks for joining. I'm working on to see comments here, and some reason I am not able to see comments here. Maybe if I flip the camera over, I could probably see comments. Well, I have to do that in the meantime. So let me just go and flip the comment camera here. There it is. Okay, so until I see the comments, I'm gonna flip my camera around. And can you all hear Moksha Mukti? The earlier sound was horrible, but I think the sound is good now. I think you can hear me now, right? I'm working on to see the comment here. Some reason it's not coming up on my iPad. Anyway, how are you doing today? What's going on? Any questions, comments, concern? First of all, can you hear me? Can you hear Moksha Mukti? Earlier the sound was mumbling, it's like whoa, 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 that's coming up like that. And someone was here that says, well, that's kind of freaky. Jennifer, good. She hears me loud and clear. Yeah, that's what happened earlier, and then somehow the sound went into the other mode, and I had to stop the video because and I'm trying to see if I can read the comment on my iPad. So anyway, I think if you can hear me, if those of you who just joined, namaste. This is Moksha Mukti Apollo, and he is taking your questions, comment, concerns, and he's here to speak about your comment, question, concerns, and point you to the source of your happiness, source of your sadness, source of your anxiety. Where is everything stemming from? He's there to point you. And when you ask questions, comments, then this gives Moksha Mukti opportunity to interact with you. Otherwise, he can speak, and he can speak like this all day. Jennifer writes, I am wonderful. I am sure you have answered this before, but the other day you were speaking of life being a continuous cycle. Is there an end to this cycle, or do we just continue throughout the universe and for eternity? Moksha Mukti can answer this question. Moksha Mukti can speak regarding this, and he wants to point out the answer is already within you. Whatever question you're seeking, the answer is already within you, and he's pointing you to the source. And when I say that, a lot of my listeners, followers come back and say, well, I don't really see what is in me. But he is pointing you to the source, and source has all the answer, because what it is that the time is the phenomena created I had to check on my connection. It wasn't connected. So the source is already within you now, in this present moment. And when you stay present, you can see the answer within your consciousness or within the source. The time is the phenomena created by the mind. Time is the phenomena created by the mind. In the reality is everything is eternal. It is happening now simultaneously. Past, present, and future. That is happening now in this present moment. You see, and everything is happening spontaneously, continuously, dynamically. So everything is continuing. There is no beginning, there is no ending. Beginning and the ending is the perception of the mind, is an illusion. Ending and beginning is the mind's creation, created by the mind. That's why Moksha Mukti is pointing you to look within the source. He is pointing you to go deeper. He is pointing you to give your attention to the source. You see. However, humans are too busy giving too much attention to the thinking. And by thinking and thinking, you will not recognize that. And Jennifer writes, when we dream, is that the source speaking to us, or is that mumbled thought process? You see, there is a subtlety within you. What Moksha Mukti is pointing is subtle. It's subtle. It seems weak. It is gentle. It seems powerless. And however, it requires your attention. And when you give attention, you can recognize it. Even asleep, there is a connection. You see. Even asleep, there is a connection. You see, thought process is never clear. When you think too much, it exhausts you. And you don't even recognize what you're dreaming. Because you're exhausted. Because by thinking and thinking, you will exhaust. And we can go deeper regarding this in just a minute, but let me just acknowledge Darcy GG Bowser. Hello, Darcy. Thanks for joining. Namaste. Glad to have you here. What can a person do to be happy? Do meditation help? What Moksha Mukti is pointing here is give your attention to the source. The source is already within you now. The source is inward. And in there, you can recognize the source of the happiness. You see, here we are interested in not so much happiness, not so much defining what is happiness, but where is the happiness stemming from within. Once you recognize the source, once you connect to the source, yeah, this connection seems to be issue tonight. And my comment is back again. So, all right, I think I know what happened. There was some bandwidth issue here. So yeah, in order to be happy, was Moksha Mukti is pointing you to see the source. So once you recognize the source, you'll see where your happiness is stemming from. And in that recognition, it is neither happy, neither sad. It is what it is. You are connected to the source. And from that, you can experience happiness, you can experience sadness, you can experience anxiety, everything, anything and everything. We have Devi. Hello, Devi. Thanks for joining. Namaste. And Devi writes, do you know the future? Moksha Mukti is not a fortune teller or astrologer. Okay. So yeah, the connection does seem to be poor tonight. So yeah, Moksha Mukti does not speak about the future. He can only speak about the present. So he only speaks about the present. However, past, present, and future is happening simultaneously. And some people, they concentrate and meditate and do sadhana and all that, and they may be able to tell you the future. You see, but what will you do by knowing the future? See, Moksha Mukti points to know the present. Know everything now in the present moment. In the present moment, you can hear, you can see, you can smell, you can sense, you can the five perception, five senses: hear, smell, see, touch, and taste. So you can perceive all those perceptions. You receive data and interpret that data now in the present moment. You see, and you will get joy. You'll get the so-called joy being in the present moment, not in the future, not in the past, but it being in the present moment. And Moksha Mukti is interested in being in the present moment. He is in the present moment all the time, meditating, and this meditation is natural meditation. This is not unnatural meditation, like artificial meditation. You force yourself to sit down and do it. Those are all artificial meditation. But if that makes you happy, Moksha Mukti said don't do it. He doesn't say don't do it, but he doesn't recommend it. He recommends natural meditation that should arise by itself through the source. And Jennifer writes, the connection is horrible tonight. I hear maybe 2 or 3 words you say, and then it cuts and says the broadcast is interrupted. Very unfortunate. Well, it is what it is, you see. Connection is like this, and if not, Moksha Mukti will be back tomorrow afternoon. Moksha Mukti thought he'd try, in the evening. He was something going on during the day today. Darcy writes, I am not hearing anything either. Connection to source is all I've heard. Yeah, of course, I can see, there is a bad connection going on. Again, it is what it is, you see. All this dynamics, you see. This makes the life beautiful. All these kings. If everything happens the way we want it, then there is really no joy. You see, sometimes experience like this create extra experience for us to see the source. So, and Jennifer writes, you spoke before of our perception of things being negative or positive. Can we say the same of people whom act in a way we perceive as negative, such as murderers or... Yeah. You see, when you come into the source, you do not do anything wrong. When you come to the source, when you recognize the source. And Moksha Mukti is not saying, break the law, you see. He's not saying that. What he's saying is whatever is happening spontaneously, just the way it is. Existing is happening exactly the way it is. You see. And the positive person, negative person, positive thought, negative thought is interpreted by the mind. You see. Is the interpretation of the mind. Both the positive thought, the positive negative thought, positive person, negative person, both are interpreted by the mind. Yeah. When you send positive vibes, when you want to listen, you see, then Moksha Mukti will be heard. If people don't want to hear, then he will not be heard. However, he expresses the expression of the existence. So those positive, negative is stemming from the thought. Give attention to the source that it is already within you. And source knows everything there is to know for you to live. Darcy writes, change thought to positive and thinking. I get it. No, he's not saying change thought. He's saying give attention to something that is already within you. Don't give attention to the thought, because the thought is arising in your consciousness. It is arising like the cloud in the sky. It is appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. Observe the thought. But don't give into the thought. Don't even label the thought. Don't even identify the thought. I mean, what Moksha Mukti is saying is like, do this now if you have time. You see, don't believe in the thought. Just give attention to the source that is already within you. And in there is observation that is observing the thought, and observe those thoughts. And Jennifer writes, I find your words very enlightening and enjoy listening to you, what you say, what you share with us. Well, thank you. Because what Moksha Mukti is doing is expressing the expression of the existence, and your mind is interpreting. Your mind is interpreting. Regardless, this is the expression of the existence. It's love. It's pure love radiating, expressing. You see. Darcy writes, within me. Yes, within you, Darcy. There is something within you now, in this present moment, that knows everything there is to know, and Moksha Mukti calls the source, or the quantum plexus. In there, Moksha Mukti is pointing you to recognize that. He is pointing you to recognize that. He is pointing you to experience that now in this present moment. Not in the past, not in the future, but now, in the present moment. He is pointing you for you to recognize that. He is pointing you to experience that. See, because humans are busy giving attention only to the thought. And that thought he's pointing is illusion. And that thought will create more problems for you. And ultimately, you are seeking to be with the source. You are seeking to recognize the source. All the experiences that you experience in the life is pointing to see the source, pointing to give attention to the source, pointing you to recognize the source. All the experiences. And Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. He's not giving you a lecture. He's not telling you anything. This is not a lecture. Simply pointing you to give attention to the source within you now that you have within. Give attention to that. That is observing everything, observing every thought, every moment, every movement, anything and everything. That observation, that is already within you. And that's right. Okay. Acknowledge the source within. Acknowledge it. Give attention to it. Give attention to it. It seeks for attention. It seeks for your attention. Give attention to it. Acknowledge it. Accept it. Recognize it. Experience it. And Moksha Mukti is not giving you a lecture. Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. Jennifer writes, do we all experience the source in different ways? And in that I mean, may some of us find the source in giving and helping others with unconditional love, while others, everybody experience the source differently because we are all unique and our aspects are different. So our experiences perceived by the mind may be different, but ultimately there is one source. There is no two source. So there is only one source. So what source is that? Is the same. Everyone is experiencing the same, but the perceived by the mind differently, interpreted by the mind differently, because we are all unique. Everyone is unique. Everyone has a different aspect that makes us unique. Even nature works hard to make everyone unique. It works hard even to make same leaves from one tree. Two leaves from one tree is unique, is different. When you look at from far, two leaves from the same tree may appear same or similar, but when you look closer, they're unique, they're different. Similarly, we all human beings, see, no one looks like you, no one thinks like you, no one acts like you. See, everyone is unique, and those are all aspects of it, and that gives the unique experience for you. But ultimately, the source is the same. Source is already one. There's only one source. You see, and everyone is connected to that source. Everyone is connected to that source, and he's pointing you to recognize the source, experience the source. And of course, you may experience differently than Moksha Mukti, because of the different aspect. Those of you who just joined, namaste. This is Moksha Mukti Apollo. Speaking about any questions, comment, concern, you type up. And he's pointing you to see the source, experience the source, recognize the source that is already within you. Not outward, but already within you. Jennifer writes, what we some ways to silence the thoughts and connect with the source? What are some ways? This is it. He is pointing you. from his experience alone is pointing you, his expression. Verbal and non-verbal, all this expression is expressing you to point you to the source now, in this present moment. And all it requires is your attention. Because the thought wants your attention. There are many things that is happening dynamically in your life, and that demands your attention. And the source does not demand your attention like that, but it gives you different experience ultimately. You see, wants you to give attention to the source. All the experiencing that you have, sadness, anxiety, depression, even happiness, joyness, whatever. See, it points you to give attention to the source. And ultimately, everyone is seeking for the source, which they already have it. Only thing missing is the attention. And the thought arises. Observe the thought. Don't act on the thought. Don't even believe in the thought. Even for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, don't believe in the thought. Because those thoughts stemming from your memory is going to be in the memory. It's not going to go away. You see, you're not going to forget the thought. Just observe the thought and don't give in to the thought. Don't believe in the thought. And you'll see, thought is like the cloud, appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. And in the source, you begin to recognize your true functionality, how you are functioning. And Moksha Mukti is only speaking how he is functioning, you see. And in the reality, fundamentally and essentially, how he is functioning, you are exactly functioning in the same way, fundamentally and essentially. And he has already expressed different aspect of it, different aspect of it that cannot be same. Those are, of course, different. But the source is the same, you see, in the fundamentally and essentially. And what he is expressing is the expression of that. And he's wanting you to investigate. See, don't take Moksha Mukti's words. Look within your functionality, and once you recognize that in your functionality, it becomes truth for you. It is truth to Moksha Mukti. It only becomes truth for you once you recognize it. If there is no recognition, don't accept it. Those of you who just joined, this is Moksha Mukti Apollo. Type your questions, comment, concerns, and he will speak regarding that. And he's not here to tell you anything. He's not here to give you a lecture. Simply pointing you to your source within you that already knows. And he's pointing you to put your attention there. And he is experiencing that now. See? He's recognizing the source. And his expression itself is pointing you to see the source, recognize the source. Now in this present moment. Not in the past, not in the future. Humans are busy looking into the memory, dwelling in the past, and missing out everything in the present. Majority of humans. staying in the past, dwelling in the past. Tiny space in the brain, it's a memory. Giving attention to tiny space in the brain and missing out everything in the present moment. And in here, you miss out opportunity to recognize the source and experience the source. And while you're doing this, you may create miracle in your life. I'm not saying you're going to create miracle in life. There is a possibility to create miracle in your life by staying in the present, by recognizing the source, by experiencing the source. There is a possibility to create miracle in the life. There is a possibility to open up. There is a possibility of infinity possibilities in this recognition, in this experiencing. And there is a possibility to experience epiphany, possibility to experience extraordinary experiencing now in this present moment. And you may not experience this right away, and some of you may have experienced this right away. Actually, some of you have reported back to Moksha Mukti that you have experienced such extraordinary experiences by listening to Moksha Mukti, by coming to this gathering. You may experience this now, or you may experience it later on, you see. But the source, there is a possibility of infinity possibility. In the source, there is a possibility of miracle. In the source, there is a possibility of experiencing extraordinary experiencing, epiphany, ecstatic, you see. But will you be able to experience such experiences all the time? No. Because all the experience, they come and go, and there are sunny day and there are cloudy day. You see, same thing. There are ecstatic, happy, extraordinary, epiphanic experience, and there are sad experiences also coming in your consciousness. Both come. And when you recognize the source, even the sad experiences doesn't really appear sad. And even the happy experience doesn't appear as a happy, because you're recognizing the source and seeing your true functionality, how you're functioning. You see. And Jennifer writes something here. Let me check in my iPad, because it's kind of hard to see on a small iPhone there. And I'm going to this group here. See, and where is that? Right there. Okay, let's see the comment. And I think this is like earlier comment. Jennifer writes, I work with children who have a wide range of special needs, and I know exactly what you mean. I have moments where it brings me to tears in these things others would perceive me as. Yes. When you recognize the source, sometimes, yes, you may tear up. You may burst with a tear. And the lady who was here, I don't know if it was you or someone else, she had this experience, and she was in tears. And she reported to me, Moksha Mukti, well, this is tears of joy. I am in joy, experiencing this source. And I can see one more comment here that I don't see in my iPad. In the things others would perceive as small, I see miracles. Exactly. That, what Moksha Mukti pointing to the source, he calls quantum plexus, that is the smallest things that so far humans have known. So that is smallest things, and he's here to point you, just like a candlelight. If I light a candlelight here, the candlelight is insignificant because it becomes insignificant because there's a light there. But if I turn the light off, the candlelight becomes significant. You see? And our thought is like that light. It is distracting you to recognize the source, and it is small. And there is a tear because it is so beautiful. You see? And yes, this miracle is created by the small. By having a big ego, by doing this, miracle is not created. Miracle is created by recognizing the small. You see the source, see, when you give attention, all these things come out. Right? And Moksha Mukti is pointing to that. Accepting, recognizing, experiencing. You see. And our society sees some of these talks as negative, but it's not negative. Our society ignores this. Society would rather have a party, live music, food, people, dance, talk loud, People would rather do this than have this meeting, have this conversation, you see. And some of them may say, well, that's kind of negative. It's not negative. In the reality, this is exactly what it is. It's neither positive, neither negative. But some people may call this positive, and some people may call this negative, but it's not negative, you see. What we are doing is we are experiencing extraordinary experiencing, recognizing the source, experience that now. And ultimately, all the experiences points humans to look into that, give attention to that. And Moksha Mukti is pointing you now in this present moment. Some people may call this positive. And everything Moksha Mukti says is stemming from the source. It's not stemming from his thought. Thought arises, appears, and disappears. He's not affected by thought right now. He's not influenced by thought. He's not attached to the thought. Thought appears and disappears like the cloud in the sky. And when you give attention to the source for others, this may look like peaceful, so-called peaceful, quote and unquote, so-called happy, so-called beautiful. And Jennifer Rice, is there any significance to the color orange you are wearing? Just curious. There is no really significance to the color. Just I happen to like the color orange. It just resonates what Moksha Mukti is experiencing. It just is. Some people may wear red, some people may wear a different color. Moksha Mukti is wearing this orange color. It's a very good color, don't you think so? We have Nicholas. Varoniu Nicholas. Hello, Nicholas. Thanks for joining. Nice to have you. Namaste. And Nicholas writes, how are you? Moksha Mukti is just well. Moksha Mukti is answering or speaking on any questions, comments, concerns that you have today. And he's speaking to point you to the source of the happiness, source of everything within you now. To recognize that source, to experience that source. We have Darcy writes, yes, I love orange. Is orange your favorite fruit too? Mine is favorite fruit is orange. Hello, those of you who just joined. This is Moksha Mukti Apollo. And he is speaking. Anything that you put on your comments, type your questions, comment, concern, and he'll speak regarding that. And he's not lecturing you, and he's not telling you anything. He's simply pointing you to experience, for you to experience the source, recognizing the source by giving you attention. And Darcy writes, I want to experience the source. Yes, he's pointing. Everything he's saying, everything he does with his verbal and non-verbal communication, he is pointing you to the source. And just give your attention to the source. That is already within you. Not so much to the thought, but to the source that is observing anything and everything that you're doing. And it is even observing your thoughts, all thoughts appearing and disappearing. And in the moment, if you want to recognize the source, experience the source, don't believe in the thought, even for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, however long you can. Do not believe in thought, because whatever you thought is not going to go away, it's in your memory. Just stay here in the present moment and give attention to that is observing. Jennifer writes, pomegranate is mine. So beautiful and unique, and they taste amazing. Something we also cannot get year round, so definitely a treat. Yeah. Moksha Mukti does enjoy pomegranate. Matter of fact, when Moksha Mukti was growing up in his childhood home, there was a tree, pomegranate tree, and I remember picking one up and eating. And nowadays he also eat now and then, but that's an expensive fruit. I think it costs like $2-3 for one. But yeah, it does taste good. And some of even the orange tastes good, pomegranate tastes good for Moksha Mukti. There is not so much taste here because everything is natural, you see, and there is no craving here. He doesn't crave for anything. There is no craving, and he eats whatever is available, you see. And he does not eat meat or drink alcohol, and there is no craving here. And Jennifer writes, that's so neat. Well, thank you. Those of you who just joined, this is Moksha Mukti. Put a comment, type something on a comment, ask questions, and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. He's not telling you anything. He's not lecturing you anything. He's just pointing you to see the source, recognizing the source, and experience the source that you already have within you right now in this present moment. And the source is the same. Your source and my source is the same. It is one. We are all connected. There is no separation. The separation is perceived by the mind. Any questions, comment, concern? Type it up. Moksha Mukti will speak on that and point you to the source. Hello, thanks for joining. All is verbal and non-verbal communication that is communicating. It is pointing you to experience your source. And we have Roberta Phipps Berrigan. Hello Roberta, namaste, thanks for joining. And Roberta writes, what is the source? I am very spiritual, so it's a different name for what some call God, I am, etc., etc. Maybe. Roberta, Moksha Mukti is not calling God, he's not calling spirit, he's not calling anything. He is calling quantum plexus because quantum is the smallest thing that we know so far scientifically. So he's calling quantum, and it is small. Yet, everything is available in that small source. So some people may call it God, spirit, but Moksha Mukti doesn't call that. It calls it source. You see, and that is already within you. It is formless. You cannot define it. It is infinite. It is limitless. But the mind is finite. Mind is limited. The mind will never know that. That's why Moksha Mukti is creating this forum for you to experience that now in this present moment. You see, connecting to that. And everything, source, that is the source of happiness, sadness, anxiety, fear, afraid, joy, anything and everything to the source. And you can recognize that. Instead of someone telling you all that, he's pointing you for you to recognize that, pointing you to experience that now. Any questions, comments, type it up and Moksha Mukti will speak regarding that. And he's not giving you a lecture. He's not telling you anything. Simply, he is pointing you to, for you to give your attention to the source now. For you to experience the source now. So that this gives you possibility to create miracle in your life, gives you possibility to experience infinity possibilities, and gives you it may gives you possibility of experiencing the extraordinary, experiencing now in this present moment now. And Robert writes again, I am confused. Your words are general, not specific, so I am trying to understand. Roberta, what Moksha Mukti is not teaching you anything. Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. Moksha Mukti is not lecturing you. He is pointing you to see the source within you now, experiencing that now. Just to give an example, there are a few people who've been to this gatherings and sessions. They have experiencing this. They reported back to Moksha Mukti. They have experienced this extraordinary experiences that they were able to observe their source now. And some of them were ecstatic, some of them were tearful, but they reported back to me their tear is tears of joy. So you can experiencing this now. There is no specific. If you're looking for specific, Moksha Mukti does not give you specific. Moksha Mukti is not here to give you anything. Simply he is pointing you by communicating verbally and non-verbally. He is pointing you to the source, recognizing the source, because the thought gives a specification, and the thought uses your energy, and thought is an illusion, and thought is appearing and disappearing, and thought is just the energy. You see, the thought is consuming your attention. Thought is a negative. Thought is fascist. Thought is cruel majority of the time. You see, and when you give attention to that, you miss out all the opportunity to be in the present and recognize the source. And he's pointing you to recognize that, experience that, see that now in this present moment. And we have Karen Karsten. Hello, Karen Namaste. Thanks for joining. Karen writes, where should I go from here? Am I on the right path? Karen, Moksha Mukti is not giving you any direction. Moksha Mukti is not giving you any prescription. Moksha Mukti is not giving you a lecture. Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. He is simply asking or pointing you to give your attention to the source that you have already within you now, and experience that now. Recognize that now. You see. And you will have thoughts, and thought will distract you, because that is the nature of the thought. It consumes your attention, you see, because that is the nature of thought. But Moksha Mukti is point out, hey, wait a minute. Even for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, hey, give your attention to the source. Ignore the thought don't believe in the thought for 5, 10, 15 seconds, and recognize the source within you. Give attention to the source. And you will see the thought is arising. And and report back what you're experiencing, so Moksha Mukti can point you, and that's all he can do. There is no specification. The only thing he can do is point you. You see. And we have Connie Linton. Hello, Connie. Namaste. Thanks for joining. Connie writes, are you referring to yourself in the third person? There is no person here, Connie. What is happening is happening. Moksha Mukti is speaking, is speaking. He is speaking, is speaking. There is no really person. What is happening is speaking. What is going on right now is speaking is going on. Expression going on. Expressions going on. Expressions of the existing that is going on. And Karen writes, I know I am, but I'm afraid. What's there to be afraid? What are you afraid? Now you're speaking. What are you afraid of? Look for the source. Where is your afraid stemming from? If you're afraid is stemming from that you're alone, that is only stemming from the thought. But in the source, you are not alone, because you are already connected. You are connected within the source. You are not alone. The alone is perceived by the mind. There is nobody around you. That to perceive as alone is taught to you. You're alone. You're not lonely. You are connected. In the source, Moksha Mukti is pointing to see the source. When you're connected, you're not alone. The separateness that you perceived says I only have 20 more minutes of the battery. So I have to end this talks pretty soon. The aloneness that is perceived by the mind is just a thought, just the illusion. You see, because that shows everything separateness. Because of this mental mechanism that we have, that sees the separateness. And that separateness is perceived by the mind, thinking that there is nobody around you, you're alone. No. You are not separate. The separate is only perceived by the mind, because we have this mechanism. And all humans see this. He sees the separateness because there is a mechanism. But we are not separate. We are not alone. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. He's pointing out that we are all connected. So it looks like I only have 20% battery, and it's a lot of battery. However, what I could probably do is charge the battery. Maybe that would help if I could get the charger. Lani Linton writes Namaste, Namaste. And Roberta Phipps writes Namaste, Namaste. Namaste is whatever I have in you, you have same exact thing. Whatever you have in you, I have same exact thing, because we're all connected. This is what it is. And a lot of people think, well, Namaste is forgive me or I am sorry. No, this is not I am sorry. This is not forgive me. This is that I am connected with you. You are connected with me. Fundamentally, essentially, we're the same. And this Namaste is acknowledging that. So, okay, so I think I'm going to switch to the charger. So you may not be able to hear me. I was on the microphone. So I'm going to switch the charger. So you may not be able to hear as great as I was speaking. But I think you'll be able to hear Moksha Mukti fine. Now I'm doing back to charger, and I have to time. What time is it now? Oh, okay. So this battery is dead. Oh no. Okay, 8:37. So I think we've been speaking for maybe a little bit over an hour. Maybe if there's energy left, Moksha Mukti can speak for another hour, half hour. So it depends on how energy is and where everything falls out. So any questions, comments, concerns? And there is no where is the afraid? Where is that afraid stemming from, Karen? Where is the afraid stemming from? There is a source. Your bravery and your afraidness, both stemming from one source. And Moksha Mukti is pointing you to recognize that. Moksha Mukti is pointing you to experience that. Moksha Mukti is pointing you to see that. And you can only see that in the present moment. Be here now. Be present. And give your attention. Because majority of attention is consumed by the thought. What is happening outward. And we have forgotten to give attention inward. There is tremendous energy inward. There is tremendous love inward. There is tremendous courage inward within you now. There is no reason for you to be afraid. However, Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. Moksha Mukti is not lecturing you. He is just pointing you to see the source. And in his verbal and non-verbal communication, he is pointing you to the source that you already have within you now, in this ever-perpetuating present moment. Because the present is perpetuating now, 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 always perpetuating. But humans are busy staying in the past, recalling from the memory, tiny space in the brain, in the memory, giving attention to that, and believing everything that is in the memory, and forgetting what is here now in the present moment, and missing out everything in the present moment. Any comments, concern, questions, so Moksha Mukti can interact with you, give you pointers, speak to you regarding that. Otherwise, Moksha Mukti can speak like this all day. Can you speak like this all day? Actually, that one session he's going to give here locally in Dallas, Texas area, that maybe soon, maybe next month, maybe 3 months from now, 6 months, he's going to give talks all day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And simply this is the expression of existence existing. Expression of existence expressing naturally He's expressing verbally and non-verbally, pointing you to the source, for you to experience, for you to recognize it, for you to accept it. The perception of not being alone is just the illusion. Thought is giving you illusion. Thought is a mechanism for humans to function in the society. Thought appears and disappears in the consciousness, in your consciousness. Observe those thoughts and give attention to the source. And source itself is observing the thought. Source itself is observing anything and everything. And you may have negative, so-called negative thought, or so-called positive thought. Both the negative and positive thought is just the interpretation of your mind. Mind is interpreting, well, this thought is positive, this thought is negative. Even that interpretation stems from the condition, that your society condition. Same thought in one society become perceived as the positive thought, and the next thought is perceived as negative thought. Same thought, two different culture, two different condition. So it's all perception of the mind, interpreted by the mind, interpreted according to the conditioning that's your condition. So thought will appear, and some of you may see the thought, the cloudy thought, or the cloud as a negative, but cloud is not negative. With the cloud, it produces rain, it produces help us produce food, so we have food to eat, right? So cloud appears as a negative, but it is positive, isn't it? It gives us food, it gives us rain, and it would remedy drought. Similarly, some negative thought may have some purpose, who knows? So his Moksha Mukti is pointing you to give attention to the source, not so much to the thought. And Christina Kidan. Hello, Christina. How are you? I think your name sounds familiar. I think you've been here before. Good to have you here. Namaste. And Christina writes, hello, thank you for your contribution. Hope to see many more of these. Well, Moksha Mukti is committed to the truth. He is committed to the truth, and he is speaking the truth. And he is expressing the expression of the existence. This is not something coming from personal. Moksha Mukti is coming from the existence itself. It is expressing itself. So, whenever there's an energy, whenever there's a environment for this, Moksha Mukti will continue. And he's been speaking for the last 4 or 5 days, and he may continue. For how long, who knows? There is no guarantee in life, because we don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? Because law of average say, well, there will be sunny day tomorrow, or sun will come out, right? Because there are so many days, sunny days happen, so many days sun arrived for many days, throughout your life, your parents' life, your grandparents' life, the sun was here. So by law of average, you'll say the sun will arrive tomorrow, right? But there is no certainty. Anything can happen. Everything is dynamic. See, this existence is dynamic. And we have Christina Kidan writes, live podcast, sending you light and love. Namaste. Namaste. Thanks for commenting your comments. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining. And Karen writes, who is your source and how did you find him? Karen, the source is not him or her. The source is infinite. The source is formless. The source is all-knowing. The source is all-pervading. That is why it is already within you. It is already within you. So, the mind, you're asking a question from the mind. The limited mind is trying to know the infinite source. You see, the mind will never know. Mind will never know the source. However, there is something within you that can experience the source, that can recognize the source, and that can accept the source. And this has happened within this Moksha Mukti's forum before. People have come in here and experienced that source. And Moksha Mukti is only pointing you to the source that is already within you. See, when you ask a question, who is that person? He is and her, that's stemming from your thought. And thought is thinking. You'll never know that. You see, because thought is limited. What the source is infinite. So thought will not know that. So that's why Moksha Mukti is pointing you to experience that, pointing you to recognize that, pointing you to see that, by giving attention. Now, not so much attention to the thought, but to the source. And Karen writes, how can I find my own source? The source is already within you, Karen. That's what Moksha Mukti is pointing out. Stay in the present moment. Be here now. And give attention inward. And then there's a possibility for you to recognize the source. I say possibility because not everybody can recognize it, because humans are busy giving too much attention to the thought. So Moksha Mukti say, well, for now, don't give too much attention to the thought, just give attention to the source. And in the source, by giving attention, there is a possibility for you to recognize that. There is a possibility for you to experience that. And in this possibility, there's a possibility for you to create miracle in your life, and that there's a possibility to experience infinity possibilities. And the source is already within you. And the moment you say my, then that is who is my? There is no my source. There is no Moksha Mukti source. The source is. It's not mine. It's not your source. It's not my source. Source is, but it is already within you. But your body and mind is appearing in the source, and you call that my. You see, then you're referring to your body mind. Who is that my? Who is the one says my? And Karen writes, how can I find my own? Yeah. So who is the mind? Who is the one says my? Who's the one that says my? Karen writes, I have a hard time trusting. Trusting who? Who is that you call yourself? Myself. Who is that myself? Namaste. Are you afraid to go deeper? Are you afraid to experience? Looks like there's a time. Moksha Mukti has time, and you have time. You're the only one in the forum right now. So Moksha Mukti can give you attention and direct you to the source, or point you to the source. Who is that you call yourself myself? Who is that? Who's the one that is saying myself? Is it your thought? Who is that? No. What do you mean by no? Who is that? Myself. Well, glad you're not afraid. But you said you don't trust yourself. Who is that yourself? Who is the one that says my? Myself. The one that says myself is your thought. Your thought says myself, isn't it? It is your thought that says my. Well, look within you, you know. I mean, you've been here, you're a grown-up woman. You've been here so many years. See within you. The one that says my, me, I is the thought. Yeah, even you says, who am I? Who is that I? You said I am. Who's the one that is saying I am? There has to be something that says I am. Can you close your eyes and locate that I am? Where is that stemming from? Can you locate that I am? Where is that? Is it in your body? Is it outward? Where is that? Yes. The one says that I am is coming from your teaching. That society has conditioned you from your parents, teachers, society, books, online, media, everything that condition you saying that I am. But in the reality, is that who you are? No. You are something other than that. Something profound, something intelligent, something happy, something healthy, something already imperfectly perfect. That you are. And all the teaching, all the conditioners is saying otherwise. And there's a battle between who you are and what you are conditioned with. There's a battle. There's a friction, creating friction in you. See, when you rub two hands right here, it creates what? Friction. And it gets hot. Same thing in the mind that may be happening. It may be creating friction. And who is that I that you call yourself? That is your teachings. That is your thought, stemming from your condition. That I. And Moksha Mukti is pointing you to go beyond that teachings, beyond that, and that I, that recognition, that experiencing, that recognition is already within you. And Karen writes, I understand all this and I do know I am more, but how do I perfect myself? Is there reincarnation? No, again, you're giving attention to something else. Moksha Mukti is pointing you to give attention to you. Yeah, you're going beyond. Stay with me for a while. Stay with the Moksha Mukti, and don't even think about reincarnation. Don't even think about that. Do we know anything about reincarnation? No, we don't know anything about reincarnation. Talk about things that you do know. We do not know reincarnation. I is not me. When you close your eyes, can you locate? Where is that I? You cannot locate. You cannot locate who is that I. I is just a memory in your brain. Like when you say, oh, I am this and that, is only in your memory, stem from the memory. You see, when you just look in the memory, that is just a memory. Are you your memory? No. You're not your memory. You're not your memory. There is something within you that is observing everything, isn't there? It is observing. Whether you know it or you don't know it, there is something within you that is observing everything, even observing your thought. There is no such thing as death. Who's the one that says death? It is the mind that says death, not you. And why do you bring death now? Moksha is not pointing you to that. Moksha is pointing you to the live now, living. Being in the present moment, experiencing. He's not talking about the future. We do not know anything about the future. Why worry about something that is in the future? Experience that now, the present, ever perpetuating present moment now. Experience that. Who is the one that says you're dying? Who is the one? It's your thought, isn't it? What does thought know? Thought doesn't know anything. It's the thought that's saying you're dying, isn't it? Yes, live now, in the present. Don't believe in your thought. What does thought know? Don't believe in the thought. There is something within you. You are already healthy. You are already perfect. But your thought is saying you otherwise, isn't it? Why do you believe in your thought? Whatever it is, whatever you are, stay connected to the source. Give your attention to the source. Don't believe in your thought. Because the source itself will heal you. Source itself will guide you. And let me tell you a story. I am not a healer. I am not, although I do quantum prayer, and I'm going to pray for you that you'll be fine. Okay? And Moksha Mukti does quantum prayer, and he's not been doing this, but he'll do it now. Done. Quantum prayer is fast, and quantum prayer is effective. He has done the quantum prayer for you. Now, I'm going to tell you a story of a lady. She was in bed, 80 pounds, had a cancer size of the baseball size tumor. She was dying, 80 pounds. The doctor said she was about to go. And I asked her to bring all the family. And guess what happened? In a couple of days, her tumor just melted on its own. And she's surviving, and she's giving talks. You see? Because if you believe in the thought will kill you. So don't believe in the thought. Give attention to the source that you already have within you. And if you do have to go, and Moksha Mukti is not saying commit suicide or he's not saying anything about the death. But when the universe needs atoms somewhere else, see, this is all fortuitous concourse of atoms. When the universe needs on its own, not by your force, not by your thought, but whenever universe needs atoms somewhere else, you will take even Moksha Mukti, speaking right now, you'll even take Moksha Mukti and place it somewhere there. Because that is the fortuitous concourse of atoms. When the universe no longer needs you, he'll place you somewhere on his own. On his own. Even Moksha Mukti seems healthy. He can take him now and he can go. You see, that's a fortuitous concourse of the atoms. Universe is balancing its energy, moving atoms from here to there, recycling, doing all this thing, keeping balance for you to sustain. But that is universal. Universe is what it is. It is what it is. However, all the people who are dying, all the people who are already gone, majority of the time, it is their own thought that's killing them. They're believing something other than themselves. Believe in yourself. Pay attention to yourself. There is something within you that knows everything there is to know. There is nothing to learn. You already know what there is to know. The source already knows. Moksha Mukti is speaking all this right here. It's not something he read it somewhere. It's not something he heard somewhere. It is the expression of the expression naturally coming. And he's been speaking for over an hour. All these talks, some people call this wisdom. Some people call this enlightenment. Some people call this, that, and other. Whatever it is the expression of the existence. And that is stemming from within. There is nothing to learn. And Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. Moksha Mukti is not give you any direction. Moksha Mukti is not giving you any prescription. Moksha Mukti is not telling you anything. He's just pointing you to see the source, because source knows that is already within you. And Karen Rice, I do believe in positive. And Karen Rice, no, never suicide, but I have so much yet to learn and give it to others. And Karen Rice, thank you. I do believe your words. Simply, he's pointing you to see the source. Yes, Karen, Moksha Mukti is scheduled to be back here tomorrow, either in the afternoon between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. or in the evening. Check him out. He'll post it. Check him out. In the meantime, give attention to the source and carry that wherever you go. And source itself, giving attention to the source itself, creates the possibility for you to create a miracle in your life. Anyway, thanks for joining. Namaste. And what time is it now? 9 o'clock.